Welcome to video number 11 in the series of 17 reasons why entrepreneurs fail in business. So this one, very, very important because it deals with the lifeline or the bloodline of your company, and that's your customers. So what is it? How well do you know your customers? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you really know your customers? In fact, in this video, I'm going to share with you a very insightful statistic that I read that really blew me away. And it was so impactful and so technically negative about your customers that you probably don't even know about it. And if you don't, problem that you're going to have is you're going to lose customers and you're not going to be able to have the retention of your customers. I'm going to make sure I talk about that in just a moment in this video. So how well do you know your avatar or your customers? Do you know their pains? Do you understand what the pleasure is that they're looking for? Do you know the outcome they're looking for? Keep in mind, your customers, depending on, of course, what you're selling or your products or services, they're looking for several things. Two things. One, more than anything, they're looking for an outcome. They don't necessarily concern a lot about your story or things like that, but they want an outcome. So what is the outcome? What is the specific measurable outcome that they can get from your products and services? And the other thing is, if you're like a coach or something like that, maybe some type of a leadership position, they want to feel that you can lead them to that outcome. So important to know what your customers' pains are. I give an illustration in one of my programs. We talk about that, $3 or $4 bottle of water, as opposed to if you went to, your local Walmart or something, you can get that same bottle of water for 70 cents, where you go to a convenience store down the road, you might pay $3. Well, why would you pay $3? I'm sure you've paid $3 for a bottle of water. I know I have. The reason you paid $3 for the bottle of water, you think, well, why do people buy water? They buy water because they're thirsty. Well, yes, but why would you have paid $3 when you could have paid just $1 or 70 cents? Because there were some pains involved that you did not want to participate in. Number one, you didn't want to drive from the convenience store all the way to Walmart to save $2 or $3. You didn't want to go into the parking lot where you're going to forget where you parked when you get back out of the store, because you'll remember that at the convenience store. Then you have to go through the long lines, figure out where the water's at, on and on and on and on and on. So they can justify charging you 3-4 times the amount because they know your particular pain. It's a convenience store, so you're paying for convenience. Another example just happened this morning. A client of mine, she posted something. She's in the fitness industry. She posted one particular video about, it's time now for you to get shredded. And I said to her, let's not do that. Let's take off the word shredded, because you are heavy into fitness. And because you're so heavy into fitness, you want to be shredded. But the average woman right now, if they're overweight, they can't even see themselves being shredded, much less lose 10 pounds. So just focus on the 5 or 10 pounds, the smaller amount, but don't tell people, hey, let's go ahead and get shredded, because that's not what they're looking for. That's not the avatar that you're hitting. Now, if you're working with somebody, like say in her particular case, who was already fit, they're in the routine, they're losing weight, they're building muscle on a regular basis, well, yeah, that type of avatar, they want to get shredded. But when somebody's 50 or 60 pounds overweight, they can't even see. That's like telling a 7-year-old they're going to be 80 one day. They can't even see past 10, right? All right, so just make sure you understand the pains of your customers. I'd recommend that you and your team get a list and say, okay, what are the pains of our customers? Why do our customers buy from us? What are we trying to solve for them? And many times You know, like if you're selling cars, you think, well, I'm trying to solve their transportation needs. Well, maybe not. Maybe there's a status need. They want a feeling of status. It could be a number of different things. Maybe there's a car that they're wanting to buy that their grandfather had the exact same model, but 40 years ago. And now you've got the new model this year, and there's some type of nostalgia there. You don't know this stuff until you learn more about your customers. Now, let's go to that one thing that I alluded to in the beginning of this video it was a real eye-opener for me. And the reason you want to know about this is because once I tell you about this, I want you to do something about this. And when you do something about this, you are going to have longer lasting customers. All right, here we go. 82%, one study shows that 82% of all your customers, all of anybody's customers, regrets or has some kind of remorse about the purchase that they made. And I'll assure you, the higher, number one, what kind of follow-up process do you have? I remember purchasing a product well over $40,000. The item is in price, the more somebody's going to feel that way. Now let's look at this. If you have 82% of your customers feel remorse or regret because of buying your product or services, what's going to happen is psychologically they're going to stay in a mode where they're questioning their purchase. That is not a good thing. It's your job to stop that cycle. So how do you stop that cycle? There are several ways and things that you can do to stop the cycle. Two products, in fact. I just thought when I just said that, I just purchased another product. Not once have I had a phone call. And by the way, both products, I had that feeling of regret or remorse. Should I have done this? Should I have done this? Should I have done this? All right. And if I'm doing this, I'm sure you have too. Think about it. Not only are your customers thinking this way, you're a customer of somebody's, right? When you have bought something or will continue to buy something, don't you get that same feeling as well? So it's now your responsibility to your customer. The smart thing would be for you to stop that right away. Stop that cycle of, oh my gosh, should I have bought this? What's going to happen? I got to pay for this, all this stuff. So how do you stop the cycle? Depending on the pricing of your product and the products, you create and implement a process where you're touching the customer early. I remember paying over $50,000 for a product, and boy, did I have regret and remorse on that. Not once did somebody call me to say, okay, let me show you how to use your product. Here's what's going to happen. Not one time. Yet I remember paying a $99 a month subscription for a product. No, I lie to you. 19 cents, not 99. 19, no, not 19 cents. $19. $19. And for this $19 a month subscription, they offered me a 30-minute complimentary chit-chat consultation. They're not trying to upsell or sell me anything. They just wanted to see if I had any questions, and they wanted to show me around for $19 a month. That was smart. So, what are you doing to touch your customers? How quick are you touching them after they make the purchase with you? So are you just making a phone call quickly to say, hey, I just wanted to make sure you've started your program. Have you looked at everything? Are there any questions? Maybe you have a portal, or maybe you mailed them something, whatever it is. The moment you do that, they see that you care, right? And then the moment they see you care, what happens to that mental process, that cycle, that recording about the regret of making the purchase with or of your product or service? It begins to stop. You control that. So think about, when should you make that touch? Sometimes, we think, an email will do. And with all the technology that we have, and all the robots and the fake AIs and the AI people and all that stuff, look, people are looking for human touch. And if you want to stick out and understand more about your customers, everybody wants a human touch. So the more you can touch them as a human being and show that you care and help show them how you want to onboard them with your product or service, the smarter you're going to be, the longer lasting you'll have with your customer. They'll see that you care, and more importantly, you will immediately stop that cycle of them thinking, I don't know if I should have gotten this. All right. Hopefully this gives you something to think about. And again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you answer and how would you rate yourself on how well do you know your customer? I'm out of here. Between now and the next time we get to chat, you know what to do. And if you don't, you do now. The title of one of my books, Don't Let Others Rent Space in Your Head. Have an awesome day. Till the next video.